Okay, this is Steve Palmarks. This is the bot big picture video, and we're going to put together something like $300 million worth of ELMAs, or Extreme Lifestyle Marketing assets, in the next 90 days. And we won't pay that much for them because some of these assets are being bought for a couple pennies on the dollar, even as far down as a half a penny on the dollar. There's some unbelievable leverage available in the assets that we've selected for the project. So it's not that much money that we're going to raise, but it's going to appear to be an awful lot of money because the assets look like they're worth what it would cost to rebuild them. It's going to start with cruisers. Those are sort of low-end yachts, 50-footers, 40-foot, 50-foot sail and power, and motorhomes. And they'll start probably with maybe even gas 30-footers, but quickly transitioning into almost all diesel pushers that are luxury, that are hardwoods and nice flooring and nice amenities and able to pull things like tugs and lake houseboats and other things that catch people's attention and make them go, what is that? When you pull into a campground, or you pull into a recreation area or a national park or state park, or even just a rest stop on the freeway. And that will transition into much larger vessels, 100-footers, even 150-footers, both sail and power, as well as our first islands. And those will be paid for within the rest of the year. Within 3 to 5 months, we'll have the islands even, which are at this point the most expensive pieces of the puzzle. They'll be paid for, and that's because they will, by themselves essentially, will use the earliest assets to put the down payment on islands, and then the islands, because they're so powerful from a marketing perspective, given the model that we have, they're going to pay themselves off in very short order. A month or two, the island's paid for, and we're looking for another one. And then the mountain ranches, or the equestrian high country estates, are akin to the islands. They're kind of like an island above the land masses of the continents. The islands are just, if you think about an island, there's an awful lot of real estate that you're buying when you buy an island, because you're buying a mountain, you're buying the tip of a mountaintop, and not very many people exploit the resources in that massive structure that goes down all the way to the bottom of the ocean, where you're buying the island. Now there might be a really shallow draft island where it's just in a small sea, Caribbean or whatever, that the mountain is not that tall, so but you're buying more than just what appears above the surface. You're kind of buying an iceberg with an island. And then the Bourne will come into play later this year, early next year. We'll start to build the stations on the Bourne, and there's videos about what the Bourne is and how that fits into the global conveyor belt of the knights that travel to the different assets held by the tribe, including the stations themselves, what you can learn, who you can meet, how you can mastermind, and what that means for the larger tribe's experience and framework for marketing. This is a really narrow window, or I call it the wormhole of opportunity, where a very small number, just a few hundred, are going to get in and get all the goodies, get the positioning, get the top ranks, be on the board of directors, end up with physical assets that are essentially handed to them by the project, because it's such a highly leveraged project that we can afford to give the early adopters a very, very large chunk of the goodies in the early going, for the first 6 months, for the first 12 months, while they get their organizations built. And then they're off building their own lifestyle marketing assets and living their own extreme lives, and they really don't need the assets of the larger bot at that point. That doesn't mean they can't use them. They can, but they won't have to rely on them as heavily once they have their own infrastructure and their own tribe built. So it's a small window. It might only be weeks. It might even be days. It just depends on how quickly the big players seize on this and talk and get people to see how deeply enough into the project to lay their money down, as we say, and then the positions fill and we reset, and the next phase it costs a whole bunch more money. It comes with a whole bunch less benefits. And then the next phase, even more money and less benefits until we're all full with the bone marrow of the project and we move on to Keystone. And that's where it gets much larger and the numbers just get bigger and the minimums go up. So it's not that easy to get involved once you're in Keystone. So it's kind of an open casting call. We're not going to be real picky, except that most of these invites are going to go out to people who know who to invite and aren't just going to bring in Cousin Buford or somebody off the street because they need this. They're going to be talking to people who can contribute to the project. The whole idea behind electronic tribal marketing is that a new person arriving is going to benefit the whole project and even people who aren't in the project because of what we're doing for the environment. And so we really want the right person invited, and that's why once we're past this open casting call, it will go to the yacht club model, which I talk about in a different video, where you only get in this if you're invited and you're vetted and essentially a membership crew approves you. And if you don't pass the sniff test, you're back out there and whoever invited you is inviting someone else. So it's not a mass model, it's not a help the person off the street model. It's for people who are established, people who have means, people who have influence, people who want to come to the party and help do the work and make this thing fly, make it fly bigger, higher, faster than anything they've ever seen before. And then the billions, that's with a B, billions in matching grants and scholarships are going to be announced somewhere in the next few weeks to a few months. We're not sure exactly what the timing is on that. I'm going to rely on the people who come to the project in the early going to help us do several of the important decisions about the project as it gets bigger. And part of that conversation is the grants and scholarships. Grants being the matching, you get 10-to-1 matching. You put up 10,000, you get 100,000. You put up 500,000, you get 5 million or whatever. And the scholarships, where we just hand $10 million worth of, you can cut it up into 10 or 20 or 30 pieces, but $10 million comes to your important ocean defense organization or your land habitat, your big cat rescue or your chimp sanctuaries or your Water Keepers Alliance, so that you can start to raise money in a different fashion than you've done in the past. That's a scholarship. They won't have to pay. The people who warm up to this, who are already their kind of benefactors and people who've been paying for year after year after year, when they send the money out, we need more money, keep the lights on, those are the people who will buy in. But the operation itself that's going to benefit from those buys, financially and otherwise, is not going to have to pay, and that's called a scholarship instead of a matching grant. And then we're looking at putting literally hundreds of people, mostly marketers, but there's going to be some professional bloggers, professionals from the Fourth Estate, people from the entertainment world, and people from the higher education world, professional activist world, that are going to be in the chips from this quickly. Multiple 6 figures and even multiple 7 figures in earnings and annualized for a year within the next few months. People are going to see that they're going to be a multiple 6 figure or a multiple 7 figure or a 7 figure earner in that 12-month period starting from when they started. And that's unusual to be able to say that many that we're going to be able to put through into multiple 6 figure earning status or even multiple 7 figure. There probably won't be very many 8 figures, except that there will be 8 figure people doing this, that this is just a sideline thing and they're doing it for an hour or 2 a day, and they're also helping their friends who maybe aren't 8 figure, 7 figure, even multiple 6 figure, kind of get transitioned off the ground and into the pink, into the earnings realm, instead of one at a time, back to their day job, even if it's a high paying day job type of earnings. And then you can look for the drill down in the document or in this DVD later, where there's a research or for further information section, in order to kind of satisfy yourself that we are who we say we are, and we're working with who we say we're working with, and we've done the tango. This is an operation that's been around for 30 years, more than 30 years, going on 40, and all of that evidence is there on the internet, and you can ask our strategic partners and people we've done business for, worked for, been the mentors for, been their clients, been their affiliates, joined their whatever things that they were doing, promoted their communities, helped them with copywriting, helped them with lots of things. This is a very diverse group of marketers and players that have had many, many, many centuries of experience in network marketing, in digital marketing, digital product creation, online marketing, direct selling, top tier, and also in offline businesses too. And we bolt the two together. That's what the yachts and the islands and the mountain hideaways are for, is bringing in the real world, the real life, the real touchy-feely stuff. I want to learn instrument-rated flight. I want to learn how to be a captain cross an ocean on my own boat. I want to be a passage maker. I want to ride my bike on the Great Wall of China. I want to go see Victoria Falls in South America. I want to go to World Cup. I want to go to the Ganao Festival in southern Morocco. I want to go to Burning Man and Bumbershoot and Montreux Jazz and hang out on Lake Geneva with my friends who have vessels on Lake Geneva in Switzerland, and go to Paris for a month and hang out on the Champs-Élysées. Those are the kinds of people that we're looking for. That's the kind of life that we're talking about here, and that's what this BOT Big Picture is about, is to help you see a bigger picture of what all these pieces that I've been talking about in videos and in audios and in PDFs that you'll discover from the links in the research section for more further reading, however much you need. Don't take too long though, because this stuff's not going to last, and you're going to wish you'd jumped sooner. Now it's cost more. Or you're going to wish you jumped sooner. That's not even available anymore, and you can't afford the next one. So you have some time, but try not to spend there's hundreds of hours of audio and video and writings, probably even into the thousands, if you talk about my friends and my partners here and you want to go discover them, not just me. So take that with a ton of salt, whatever you like, but drill down is important when you haven't satisfied yourself as to who we are, what our intentions are, and what our loyalty is to the people we're bringing to this, and what we've done in the past, what our success record is, if you will. But make a decision. Come to a decision. The worst decision you can make is not do anything. Then you're going to just watch this thing streak around the world every 60 minutes for the next maybe 20 years and not get invited back. You don't want that. You want to at least get in on a basic level. There's no shame in starting simply, in starting low, starting at the beginning. But if you can afford it and you want a leadership position and you want to be part of the board of directors and you want to direct traffic of big assets to your favorite city or your favorite beach community or your favorite metro area, well, think about putting in based on your means and your position, your status in the business world and as a marketer. And we're just looking for a match. We're not looking for people to over or under put in. We're just we want to get this thing off fast, and that means whales, talking to other whales, and even mailing their list for this, so we fill it up and then we move on to the next level. So that's the BOT Big Picture.